The LA Kings just put on a defensive clinic. And not only did they crush the Sharks, they also take out the good vibe Sharks. We're going to discuss that, what the numbers say, and compare William Eklund's start of his season compared to other notable Sharks first years. So all that and more on today's episode.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is Tank Commander JD, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well, or do both. Thank you guys who do check out the show every day. And folks, the tank is back on. The good vibe Sharks are gone. We will always have the road trip. But tonight you saw an absolute defensive clinic by the LA Kings as they squashed the Sharks 4-1. So before we get into the game, talk about kind of why there's such a huge kind of discrepancy between the Kings and the Sharks, and dig into the numbers, and then kind of compare where Eklund is trending compared to some other very notable Sharks first round picks. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Right now, make every moment more. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. That was impressive by the Kings. And again, there's few things despise more as a Sharks fan than the Kings, right? I guess Vegas right now kind of takes it on one slot, but the Kings, especially with they robbing the Sharks of their potential Stanley Cups back in the day, and just they've done things better than Sharks. They've done their rebuild better. They've built their team better, and they're kind of paying, the fruit of their dividends right now, or the fruit of their labor is kind of coming into fruition. This Kings team is an absolute menace. We saw it tonight, right? With the way that they just anything the Sharks tried to do offensively, the Kings had an answer for, and the Sharks just do not have the horses or people or whatever you want to, say, whatever you want to. They just don't have that right now, and the Kings have been very aggressive with their rebuild, right? And kind of acquiring high-end pieces, and then trading pieces for guys who fit their timeline. And, you're seeing it is kind of all coming together. Still questions on the goaltending. But when you have a defense like that, and me, defense is for nerds, go score a bunch of points, but they're having their cake and eating it too, right? They are able to shut down teams and then they can also score a bunch of goals. Like they have both right now. And it's very enviable. And the Sharks, we will get there eventually, but you saw tonight, right? We know the Sharks really like to get on the rush, especially that Granlund line, right? That line's been very effective getting on the rush, getting that transition game going, and try to score on the rush. And the Kings just did not let the Sharks do that, right? You saw no odd man opportunities. The Sharks had to be very methodical with the way that they tried to generate offense, and the Kings just said, "Nah, bro, you guys aren't ready." I think David Quinn said, "A man amongst boys," for the way they played. The Sharks had 15 shots on goal tonight. 15. Okay, the Kings up 3-0 in the third period had 16. Just let that sink in for like this Kings team was absolutely, they just did whatever they wanted tonight. And I think, any discussion of a potential like, hey, maybe the Sharks team isn't as bad as we thought, or maybe this team could kind of put something together here. Like we saw it kind of start to dissipate over the weekend, and I think tonight was kind of that final like reminder of, yeah, the Sharks just aren't ready, and that's fine. Like, you don't want to rush this process and where the Sharks are headed, and we for the good of the franchise, it is best for them to continue their long-term plan of collecting blue chip prospects, gathering as many prospects and draft picks as potential, and kind of right now shifting through whatever you have on your roster to see who is a long-term piece and who's the guy that you can maybe sell off and get something for. And I think tonight was a nice reminder of, yes, we had a lot of fun, with some crazy comebacks against the Red Wings and the Islanders, and making it games against the Vegas Golden Knights, but this team is just not there. They just do not have enough pieces. They don't have, if things aren't going their way, they just do not have answers to questions. And especially questions like, what happens when you have like just an insane defense who doesn't let you do your best thing, right? If you're a football fan, like, right, Bill Belichick, his whole thing was, we're going to take away your best thing. And right, the Sharks have been really good recently at kind of making things chaotic and scoring on the rush and kind of scoring with these 6-on-5 situations at end of games, and kind of just muddying it up a little bit and hoping that your goaltending. And the Kings were just like, nope, we're going to have to make you almost like drive down the field, right? 10, 12 play, again, the football analogy, but 10 to 12 play like drives to try to score. And we just don't think that you're good enough to be able to do that. And it was right. I mean, the only goal they scored was on the power play with like, a minute left in the game, by Jacob McDonald. Like that was the only goal that they scored. They had some opportunities. They had Mario Ferrara is going to be like kicking himself all night because he had a couple of beautiful opportunities. They just wasn't able to put home, but just shows just where this team is the Kings have kind of built, and gives you perspective as a Sharks fan of where you want to be, right? What you're going to have to compete with in the future, and the best way to do it, I think, is going to be getting high-end, creative forwards like Will Smith, like Quentin Musty, like William Eklund, like Macklin Celebrini, getting these high-end creative forwards who can counteract elite defenses, right? Who can be system breakers, who can be game breakers. Whatever system you're putting out there, my guy's just better than your guy. And I think that's going to, like, this Kings team isn't going away, right? This is kind of the beginning of what they've started to build. And this is going to be a good team for the next several years, especially as Quentin Byfield starts to kind of, he's been having his breakout season. And this is what you're building. You're going to have to build to beat this Kings team. And yes, I know Vegas is still good, but they're a little bit older. The Ducks are still kind of figuring whatever they're out. Vancouver is such a year-to-year proposition. Who knows with Edmonton, where that thing might eventually just explode on them. But like, this is the team that you're going to have to try to beat, right? Best way to win is you have to win your division, right? Or at least get out of your division, especially with the playoffs, the way they're built. And you're going to have to eventually figure out this Kings team. And it's several years before you start talking about that realistically. But you see, right, this defensive structure and the way that they're, and again, Brant Clark, who hasn't even sniffed really like what he's going to be. This Kings team is going to be for real for a long time. And how do you counteract that? That is going to be one of the big questions Mike Grier is going to have to face. And we saw tonight, the Sharks team as currently built is just not quite ready to start competing with the big boys. So we'll dig into the numbers here in a minute, and then start talking about kind of William Eklund and where his first season is going and how it's kind of comparing to some other very notable Sharks high-end picks. So we'll get to all that here in just 1 second. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. The Sharks could maybe score 50 goals as a team. I think they're there by now. The Sharks could definitely win the draft lottery, and you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is just pick some of your either favorite players, whether it be stars like Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon, or some of your favorite players on the Sharks like Hertl, Slippery Pete, Granlund, and record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player sets. You heard me, Sharks fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. All right, let's dig into the numbers here as the Sharks, again, some of these numbers are woof, just absolutely woof. Like I said, the Kings basically just kind of put the kibosh on the Sharks, and it really wasn't very close for much of the game. So 42 minutes of 5v5, 58 to 23 shot attempts in favor of the Kings. 71.6 to 28.4% Corsi for in favor of the Kings. Actual shots on goal, 30 to 9 at 5v5. 9 shots on goal. Brutal. Scoring chances, 26 to 9. 12 to 6 high danger chances, and then expected goals for 2.76 to 1.01. The Sharks just could not generate offense. We've seen, especially at 5v5, the past couple games. This is 3 games in a row where the Sharks have not been able to score an even strength goal. Power play's been great. I thought the power play looks good tonight. I know they got the goal very late, but you saw the power play continues to be a huge asset for the Sharks, especially that 5-4 unit. But 45 minutes of the game of a normal NHL game are played at 5v5, right? You have to generate something offensively 5v5, and the Sharks just cannot do that right now. So the forward line's a bit of a mess tonight. So we did have the Eklund, Hertl, Barabanov line, which it looks like that line might be RIP. We have Zetterlund, Granlund, Duclair, Hoffman, Cunnin, Bailey, and then we had Studnicka, LeBanc, and Zadina playing on the fourth line. They don't really have I don't know why the fourth line didn't really get much ice time at 5v5. I think it was a little bit scrambled. So let's they finally showed up for that. So Zetterlund, Granlund, Duclair played 10:39 time on ice. Again, all the shots are going to be so out of whack because of how badly the Sharks offense just got outshot tonight. So they got shot attempts was 4 to 13, 2 to 9 actual shots on goal, gave up a goal, 0.12 expected goals, 4 to 0.49, 1 to 4 scoring chances, 1 to 2 high danger chances. So Eklund, Hertl, Barabanov played 8:49, 3 to 11 shot attempts, 1 to 3 actual shots on goal. The one highlight, expected goals for 0.34 to 0.31. Expected goals by whom, you may ask, but still. So they were very much a quality over quantity, at least for that line, right? They were able to kind of create a little bit, but still. 2 to 5 scoring chances, 2 to 2 high danger chances, with a lot of defensive zone starts for that line. Actually, that line started 6 times in the defensive zone, which was the most. Hoffman, Cunningham, Bailey, 7-12. 5 to 7 shot attempts, a little bit closer for that third line. 3 to 4 actual shots, 0.15 to 0.47. So expected goals. So while they did produce, they were also giving up quality chances. 3 to 3 scoring chances, 1 to 2 high danger chances, with 3-4-2 zone starts. And then Zadina, Studnicka, and LeBanc played 557, 4 to 5 shot attempts, 1 to 3 actual shots, 0.22 to 0.22 expected goals for and against, 2 to 3 scoring chances, and 1 to 1 high danger chances, with kind of mostly on the fly starts for them. So we'll see going forward, because Barabanov kind of flopped down to the third line. I know Hoffman kind of moved around. Like there was a little bit. I think Hoffman moved up onto the first line for a little bit. It was a little bit of a mess. And I know, and Duclair a little bit kind of the same, where maybe not there was a little bit kind of a late, especially on that empty net goal. I think Duclair had a bit of a lazy pass that led to that empty net goal. And we know that that's been kind of the issue, the effort right level with Duclair. That's why he got benched for the Sunday game. So again, this Kings team is ridiculous right now defensively. One of the stingiest defense in the league. So defensively, again, a little bit tough tonight as well, because with Kalen Addison out and Ruda out as well, we kind of had to rely on the old, some of the other guys like Vlasic and McDonald's shifting down to back into the defensive lineup. Vlasic had, again, all the Corsies are really screwed up with the shot attempts, so just being so out of whack. But defensively, Jacob McDonald led the way, Corsi four-wise at 37.14%, Ochuk at 36%, Kyle Burrows at 35%, Ferraro at 31.58, Thrun at 25, and then Vlasic at 24.14. So again, just this Kings team kind of crushed the Sharks. So I will say Kaapo Kahkonen did have a solid night tonight. So 36 shots, made 33 saves, 3 goals on 3.43 expected goals against, 917 save percentage, 305 goals against, 6 to 7 6 high danger saves, on 7 shots, 7 mid danger saves on 8 shots, and then 19 low danger saves at 20 shots. So Sharks did kind of keep it on the outside a little bit there, but it just kind of started to crumble with them. So hopefully, Ruda sounded like he was sick. Addison was a game time decision with the lower body, so hopefully they can kind of get those guys back, because I think Kalen Addison provides some kind of offensive touch. And going against the Coyotes, they play on Thursday before, and then the Canucks, like, you're gonna need some more of this offense, or at least you're gonna have some more offensive chances against those teams, especially because they're not this Kings defensive shutdown team. So for this week, though, because of next week being Christmas, I will be doing an episode Saturday night after, normally at Locked On, right? We kind of Monday through Friday, with Christmas on Monday. Going to be doing an episode right after the Canucks game, so that'll be kind of be the beginning of your week. Will be that Canucks game, and then we'll have something the day after Christmas, and so kind of get you back on the normal cycle there. But we'll have a full breakdown of the Canucks game on Saturday night. So got you covered there. Don't want you to have to wait till Tuesday to hear about the Canucks game, which we will have long forgotten by then. So before we continue, we're going to, of course, talk about William Eklund, how his season is progressing and where he kind of looks compared to guys like Tomas Hertl, Logan Couture, Timo Meier. And, he kind of fits right in there, and at least when it comes to scoring production. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. As the weather gets colder, the NFL stays hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. It's $150 if your team wins. So if you think, I don't know, like the Bills are going to beat the Chargers, even though some of us are rooting for the Chargers. If maybe you think your Niners are going to beat the Ravens, that would be great, at least for me as well. Now's the time, because if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better option to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Again, parlay, Christian McCaffrey touchdown, Raheem Mostert touchdown. Both those guys just score a lot of touchdowns. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right. Someone brought this up to me on Twitter, and I'm a really bad person and I can't find it right now because it's been a while. But they asked me, kind of where comparing kind of Timo Meier versus Eklund and how the season is going. I kind of wanted to spread it out and see where Eklund is trending, as we're getting ready to kind of hit the halfway point of the Sharks season, and kind of where his production's going. And I think for Eklund, right, it's something to kind of remember how bad the first half or the first 10 games of the season, right, where the Sharks just weren't able to score goals, right? I mean, this team was basically at like a goal a game. I'm still looking for this guy right now, and I'm not going to be able to find it right now. All right, I'm sorry, guy. I appreciate you. I wish I had saved it. My bad. So Eklund right now. So he's played 31 games, has 15 points in that. That puts you at 0.48. I did the math beforehand. 0.48 points per game. He's missed one game this year with an injury. So let's be a little nice. We'll round up to half a point a game. So William Eklund's kind of averaging half a point a game. He plays 81 games. That'll put him right around 8. Actually, we'll even say he misses another game with an injury or whatever. So we'll just put it at 80 games, right? Kind of projecting forward. That puts him right at 40 points this season, which I think would be a great start, especially for keeping in context of how offensively challenged, we'll say, this Sharks team is this year. So where does that put him compared to some other notable kind of Sharks guys? So let's look at, I think, kind of one of the main ones, and the question that was posed to me was Timo Meier. So Timo Meier in his first season his first full season is age 21 season. So he played 34 games as at age 20. We had 6 points in 34 games. I think you also had mono, if I remember correctly. But that first full Timo Meier season. So his age 21 season, Timo Meier played 81 games. He had 21 goals, 15 assists for 36 points that season, with 18 of his goals being on even strength and 3 on the power play. We know Eklund is, I think, a much more bigger piece to the Sharks power play, especially since, this season he already has 4 of his 7 power goals are from the power play. But his assists, he's getting, it's 5-2, with most of his assists coming from even strength. So Eklund has been the trigger man. We've seen that the way, especially the power play is working right now with the 5-man unit, where Eklund has been kind of the trigger man, getting the shots. Granlund's kind of, setting things up, and Eklund's been, a lot of the plays are set from Eklund's shot. He can score, or if not, it's a rebound, kind of a rebound scramble. So, so he would actually outproduce Timo Meier. We know Timo Meier, I think, is a much different player, much more of a power forward scorer, but at least puts you on a pretty nice path being in, with Timo Meier. And I know he had next season, he really blew up with the 66 points and 30 goals. I don't know if Eklund gets, the way Eklund's shot has improved, discussing a potential 30 goals season from Eklund, I don't think it's out of the range of possibilities right now. So Tomas Hertl, former first-round pick, 17th overall. So his first season, unfortunately, tragically cut short. But the second season, his age 21 season, he played 82 games, 13 goals, 18 assists for 31 points. And it's disappointing because that was that first season back from the knee injury, and it just wasn't the same at Hertl, right? Especially because the season before in 37 games he was at 25 points, and so Hertl, again, a lot of his goals were kind of even strength as well, not as much on the power play, especially again, like these 14, 15 teams, right? You still had Thornton, you still had Marlowe, you had Pavelski, you had Couture, like you had just so many other guys where it was harder to crack that power play lineup. But still, Eklund outproducing Hertl, at least in his first full season. Hertl, though, is always going to be one of those what if guys if he never gets his knees just torn up on him. Yeah. Not that Hertl's had a great career, right? And you would easily take Hertl if you told us as Sharks fans what Hertl would be when you drafted him. You're looking, basically a 70 to 70, probably a 70-point player. Like you're excited about that, but there's always that what if with him. So, Logan Couture, remember, first round pick, 9th overall in the 2007 draft. So he played his age 20. He played 25 games, had 9 points there. Then that age 21 season at 2010, 2011, 79 games, 32 goals, 24 assists, 56 points, 22 goals, even strength, 10 goals on the power play, and with 20 assists, even strength, and 4 on the power play. So I don't think I think it's pretty safe to say Eklund's probably not going to be reaching those type of numbers, especially with, again, how offensively challenged this team is. But man, that Couture just basically came in and was just awesome from like day one. It's pretty crazy. So kind of going back, really thinking about these, but yeah, it'll, I think that's the very, very high end of what's happening. Again, I think the infrastructure around, right? You said Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, in their primes of their career. Couture was again, right off the bat, was a huge part of those Sharks teams, but I don't think Eklund's going to be getting those. So another, just a fun one to talk about. Devin Setoguchi, who was a first round pick, 8th overall in the 2005 draft. So his age 21 season, he played 44 games. And then that age 22 season, so a year later, he played a full season of 81 games where he had 31 goals, 34 assists, 65 points. And if you recall correctly, he was playing with, literally was playing with Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton. So when you have Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau, yes, your numbers are going to look, insane. And that was his career best, was 65 points that season, and then kind of fell off from there. So that's Eklund, though, I think is in good company, right? If he continues this pace on him, I think we'll continue to see production to go up, right? Especially that first 10 games where the Sharks were just offensively challenged, could not do much off, just because this team was so bad, right? The Sharks, before they won their first game against the Flyers on November 7th, he had 2 points in those first 11 games. Since then, in the next 20, right, he has 13. So you're seeing the production being more consistent. I think I think a 45-point campaign is kind of right where we're probably looking at if he continues to play the way he's playing right now. And yes, I know the Sharks got crushed defensively. You're not going to be playing the Kings every night, and I think you're going to continue to see this team be more offensively in games. And I think especially with him being, a main focal point of the power play is going to help that production. So Eklund's on a good path, guys. And when you get Smith and Musty and some other guys, that you can see where the Sharks team's going. The future's bright. It's just right now, it's a struggle right now. So we'll be back tomorrow to talk about something. Maybe we'll do I think we'll probably maybe start kind of sniffing around the trade deadline stuff, looking at some guys who are maybe out the door. We'll start that, I think, and then we'll probably be doing some draft stuff here soon. We got World Juniors coming up after Christmas. Plenty of good stuff coming here at Locked On Sharks. Make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts, and of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryhole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.